Hello guys, so today we're gonna need a ruler, and it's okay if you don't have a ruler, white paper, and 3 crayons. The crayon colors that we're gonna need are red, they're green, and brown. Okay, so take out those materials, now that you know, and we're gonna start by making a red rectangle. So as you can see, I already made a mistake by using this red. This red is not true red, it's actually like a fuchsia, like what's it called, fucsia in español, but it's like a violet rouge, violet red. So now I'm gonna go over it with my red, with my actual red crayon, so it can make sense. Otherwise it's like, this is not red, it's an imposter. Alright, and then we have a red rectangle, and we're gonna divide it into 5 squares, but that means we're gonna make 4 lines only inside. Okay, so let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Woo! I made it. It's not, you see, as you can see, they're not perfect. Let's try again for the next one. Okay, the next one is gonna be our brown, right? Okay, let's make it brown. Let's go brown. Again, we do our rectangle, brown, rectangle, we connect it, and then we divide it into 1, 2, 3, okay, you see, 4. Again, it didn't look perfect, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 squares, so that's all that matters. And then last one is gonna be our green rectangle. Hopefully this one comes out a little bit better. Hopefully. Alright. We have here on the bottom. Alright, and then let me see, it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, and 4. That one came out better. Okay, it's more like even, you know? So we have 4 lines inside, and that means you have 5 squares inside. Alright, so we are talking about our values, and our values is our shades of lightest to darkest of any color. It can be this color. Usually I do with pencil, so I would say like with your pencil, and or other material to color pencil, crayon. Today we're using crayons. So let's start. For our first square here on our red rectangle is gonna be red, but we're gonna make sure that we're coloring very dark, meaning we're gonna apply more pressure when we color. Next stop, oof, my hand is almost hurting. Alright, next one, the second square on a red rectangle is gonna be the same thing, but a little bit less pressure when we color it. So you can start seeing how it's becoming lighter already, the next box. Alright, the middle one, the middle square, is gonna be even more lighter. Ta, 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 ta. Applying less pressure. Okay, so when you shade it, when you start coloring, it's less pressure. And then the second to last box is even lighter. You can barely see it. Look, I'm gonna zoom in. Perfect. Let's see. Okay, there you go. You see? Lighter, darker to lighter to lighter to lightest. And then the last one is gonna be white. So we don't shade it in, we don't color it, it's just white because your paper is already white. We're gonna number it. So number 1 is gonna be your darkest value. Number 2 is your second darkest. Number 3 is your medium value. Number 4 is your light value. And number 5 is your lightest value. It stays white. Now we're gonna repeat the same thing but with the brown. Instead of doing it like this, darkest to lightest, we're gonna do it darkest to lightest but in a different way. So with the brown, we're gonna do this method called stippling, which means that you do dots. Sorry. So the more dots you have, the darker it's gonna look. Now there's 2 ways of doing this. You can do it like how I'm doing, that is making a lot of noise and it's almost annoying. And you do a lot of that, or you can do it one by one. Especially for some of you that have different crayons, a lot of you tell me like, Miss Pardo, we cannot see it, blah blah blah, and I'm like, okay, there you go. The next one is gonna be a little bit more spread out. You're still doing this, but it's more spread out, you know, as opposed to the first one. Okay, the third one is even more spread out, and stop putting too much pressure, okay? The second to last, number 4, barely any. You see, from darkest to lightest, but with dots, right? And the last one is white. We leave it blank. Now we're moving on with the green. This method was called stippling. This one is just regular shading. This one is my favorite. It's called continuous line. So we're gonna go like that. Woo! Your wrist should be going in circles, okay? It's continuous line. And we make sure we fill it in and we don't stop, right? And then the next one is gonna be the same but bigger, like the circles stay bigger and you apply less pressure. Next one, it's bigger and less pressure, and then this one really big and barely any pressure. There you go, that's it. That's your different values. And now we're gonna use our values to make our realistic drawings, or a little bit more realistic, you know? You can have it in different ways. Here, going from darkest to lightest. Again, the same thing, darkest to lightest and darkest to lightest. So let's start. We're gonna flip our paper. And in one corner, we're gonna start with our organic shape, right? This one shape, then is the stem here, like almost like an exclamation mark, and then the leaf. You make sure I'm gonna zoom in, but make sure you have enough space to draw 3 different apples. Don't get ahead of yourself. I don't need for you to actually do this for the other ones. So with the red, we did the organic shape form of an apple. Then we have the stem with brown, and then with green the leaf. Now we're gonna start shading it. So the bottom part is gonna be the darkest. So remember, when we're doing dark value, number 1, we are putting a lot of pressure, making sure it looks very dark. So we're doing the sides and the bottom, right? We're not doing the middle yet. And as we start going up, we're gonna change it. So we started with the darkest, and then we go to number 2, transition to number 3, to number 4, and the top of the apple should be white. So from darkest to lightest, okay? Let me make sure it's a little bit better. Let me put this here. There you go. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Now we're gonna do the bottom of our stem, the brown, darker, and as we go up, the same thing, we get lighter. And then we leave one little corner blank. So from darkest to lightest. That one should be easy because it's very small. Last but not least is our leaf. The leaf is just gonna be the medium shade. Medium shade, and on the borders, we're gonna do a little bit of number 1. Number 1 value, so it's gonna be a little bit dark. So you see, darker on the outer part and medium shade on the inside. Beautiful. Next, we're gonna move on to stippling. So if you remember, stippling was making little dots. So we're gonna start making little dots. I notice if I work with the side of my crayon, the dots like are a little bit stronger. Ooh, I made a line by accident. It happens. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. So we're gonna do more dots at the bottom because we wanna get the darker value. And then as I get all the way up, we start getting lighter. Okay? So, I know it sounds so bad. A lot of you are like, that's annoying, and I'm like, yeah, I know it is, but that's how you achieve stippling. Unless you want to do like 1 dot by 1 dot, then that would take like a really long time, guys, and I don't know if we have that much time. So just make sure as you get all the way up to your apple, you're leaving one little corner white. Ta-da! Beautiful. Alright, same thing with the stem. We make it out of little dots. And the borders are going to be your darkest. The bottom part of your stem is also going to be the one with the most dots. And as you go inside, it should get lighter. And when it gets lighter, the rhythm slows down, right? So I shouldn't hear you guys just going really hard all the time. It should slow down. Alright. And last one is the leaf. Oh my goodness. My finger is tired. Alright, come on, let's go. Let's go. We're almost done with this one. The leaf. This one's gonna come out funny. Awesome. And then again, we do the most dots on the outer part of the leaf, and then inside we just make a little bit of dots. That's okay. That's okay. Ta-da! Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, and our last one is gonna be the continuous line, my favorite. So I'm putting my paper up a little bit higher so you guys can see it. Woohoo! All right, let's go. Continuous line. So we're gonna start with a lot of pressure on our outer line. That's supposed to be our apple, right? Click, 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 click. Smaller here on the top so I have enough. And then on the bottom again, darker, darker, darker. Circular motion, circular motion. And as we get all the way up, I start making my circles bigger and leaving one spot blank. Awesome. Now, same thing with our crayon. We're gonna do with a brown crayon, sorry. Didn't specify, just say crayon, but obviously we're using crayon for everything. So more here on the bottom and then a little bit open in the top. Wow, this stem came out really big. Should have made it smaller. It's okay. All right, and then the leaf. Woo, and be careful with your other apple. So remember the borders. Da 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 da. Very dark, continuous line, and then inside, soft. Very soft. Beautiful. Beautiful and beautiful. I like the first time that I did it. It looks amazing. You know? So I'm gonna leave this as the example. But as you can see, you know what happened here? I didn't add that much values, like in between. It should be more gradual. There you go. Alright, that's a little bit better. Alright guys, and that's it. I hope you guys like it. I can't wait to see your results and have fun. Oh, and remember, if you don't have the materials, I mean, it's kind of like already at the end, but it's okay to just use your pencil to do this. Alright, bye!